Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all well today and had a nice weekend. I would like to warmly welcome you all to today's webinar, where we will go through the new DJI Zenmuse P1 and the benefits it has to you and your survey and mapping operations. So we'll begin with some housekeeping rules. Please make sure you can hear and see the presentation clearly. Let us know if you are experiencing any issues during this webinar. Feel free to ask any questions during the session in the chat section, and we will be pleased to answer these for you. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this webinar, so if you have any questions, please, by all means, ask away, and we will try and answer them in the best possible light. We will also be sending you a copy of the webinar after today's session is completed. So, my name is Jude Searchfield. I'm the product sales manager here at Feds. I will be more than happy to address all product-related queries should you have any after the webinar. So please get in touch with me. Joined with me today is Nikin, who is our head of operations and support. Nikin has many years of experience in the field, so I'm sure we are all in good hands today. In today's agenda, we will speak about the following: who are Feds and the DJI Enterprise, the full frame photogrammetry camera, why it matters, what are the robust characteristics of the P1 and how you can leverage it, how the P1 stacks up against its predecessors and what sets it apart, how to produce extraordinary results using the Zenmuse P1, and lastly, case study on how the P1 turns mapping textureless from impossible to easy. So, who are Feds? We're the market-leading provider of drone-powered solutions in the Middle East. We have a large fleet of drones. We're over around 40 employees performing daily flights throughout the year. We're second largest in the world, and along with a huge presence in and around Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, and Beirut. We are also DCAA certified training center. We have also a large client base across the industry and the most experienced drone team in the Middle East. So our complete end-to-end solution, we support drones, surveying and mapping, drone inspections, progress monitoring, and of course, drone supply and training. So let's begin. Full frame photogrammetry, why it matters. The new Zenmuse P1, DJI's first full frame camera, is built for photogrammetry. It is also the current most effective full frame sensor for photogrammetry in the market. It offers more information in a single click. Fixed focus lenses ranging between 24, 35, and 50 millimeters. The world's first photogrammetry equipment that supports a full frame sensor, giving them images captured depth like never seen before. Coupled with 45 megapixels, it is essentially a DSLR camera without the weight and size. When we carried out our test, we could clearly see every crack on the road and even individual solar cells of the lamppost at our site. We will talk about this in further detail a little later. We see this recurring theme emerge as we delve deeper into the Zenmuse P1. Those themes are efficiency, flexibility, and accuracy. And the Zenmuse P1 is relentless when it comes to these attributes. When all these three work in unison, they give rise to speed. The rate at which it clicks pictures is staggeringly fast. A photo every 0.7 seconds to be exact. Snap the picture, process the image, and store it on the SD card, all within a second. We found that the DJI M300 attached with the Zenmuse P1 was 2 or 3 times faster than the Phantom 4 RTK. This speed will be instrumental in covering large areas, allowing you to cover more ground in a single battery and saving you more time, reducing the numbers of flights necessary. So the key features that Zenmuse P1 offers are as follows. On this slide, as you can see, accuracy without GCPs, 3 centimeters horizontally, 5 centimeters vertically, 45 megapixel full frame sensor, smart oblique capture, global mechanical shutter speed, 1/2000 seconds, and the time sync 2.0 synchronization at the microsecond level. So on this slide, point 1, so the sensor itself offers a 45 megapixel camera. The resolution you can achieve with this amazing camera, giving you the access to more accurate and better detailed maps. 4.4 micrometer pixel size. Low noise, high sensitivity imaging extends daily operation time. It takes a photo every 0.7 seconds during the flight, making it one of the quickest photogrammetry sensors around, increasing efficiency while mapping large areas. Last but not least, the DJI's Time Sync 2.0 pushes accuracy a step further by keeping all the major systems in check and aligned time-wise down to microsecond level. So, a feature previously only for the aerial filming application, mappers can now rejoice at the ability to swap around their fixed focus lens. Currently, the supported lenses for the P1 are 24, 35, and 50 mm. This gives us a greater level of flexibility, giving us the ability to be better geared for the specific missions, whether it be mapping agricultural land or construction sites. So on this slide, we feature an oblique capture using the Zenmuse P1. We love efficiency. So when we heard that the Zenmuse P1's gimbal automatically rotates the payload to take captures from different angles, we were thrilled. Keeping in its theme of speed, the M300 equipped with a P1 could cover our test areas in record time effortlessly. Additional care is given to the fields at the edge of the flight area, capturing only essential images with an 80% front overlap and 60% side overlap. We found that we could bump up efficiency by another 20% thanks to the smart oblique system. You can now verify data on the field to make sure what you have captured is sufficient, resulting in overall flight efficiency, saving time and cost for all. Additionally, the Zenmuse P1 comes with a streamlined data management system. To our delight, when we finished the test flight and plugged the SD card into the workstation, we were greeted with data that the P1 automatically sorted into neatly organized files. The data collected into the files by mission name and mission time, and all the GNSS data, timestamps, MRK files, and images are stored in a central location. This feature gives us a leg up already, making sense of the captured data and presenting it in a convenient way for us to process. Here we see some of the applications for the P1, starting with the classic topographic mapping. Not only the Zenmuse P1 comes with inbuilt customized mission modes. Each of the significant applications of the P1 payload is supported by its own mission mode. That is 2D orthomosaic missions, 3D oblique missions, detailed modeling missions, and finally, real-time mapping missions. Other than the detailed modeling mission, we tried out the other 4. It is clear that DJI customized each mission to increase the output of the data captured while increasing the mission's efficiency. So on this slide, as you can see, it's very self-explanatory. It's the M300 RTK along with the Zenmuse P1 versus the Phantom 4 RTK. So on this slide, we will compare 2 of the most popular drones in the market right now. As you can see on this slide, we have the M300 RTK with P1 versus the Phantom 4 RTK. Now the M300 on the left-hand side and the Phantom 4 on the right-hand side. You can clearly see the M300 flies for longer, but it can also capture far more data in a short amount of time using the Zenmuse P1. So you have really strong system supported by a more capable payload. 45 megapixel camera as opposed to a 20 megapixel camera. With a rolling shutter, when you're trying to capture images while moving fast, the images will get distorted due to the nature of the shutter. But a global shutter can solve this problem very easily as opposed to the standard mechanical shutter used on a Phantom 4 RTK. So when we heard about the Zenmuse P1, we really wanted to get our hands on it and test it out. So that's exactly what we did. Earlier last month in January, we got our hands on the P1 and we took it out for a test. I will now pass you on to Nikin, who will explain further around the test and the case study.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Jude. We received the DJI P1 a few months ago from DJI to conduct a few tests in Middle East. And we did it. So we conducted a few number of tests, like not only on mapping, we did some inspection related tests also with the P1. So here I will share you the details and the results of the tests which we did. So as you can see, as you know, it's a 45 megapixel camera. So clearly the results are amazing. So even we can at 50 to 100 meters height, you can still differentiate even smaller subjects on the ground. So if you're from the mapping background, you will understand that the resolution is really very important here to get accurate survey grade results when you process the data. So on the left side of your screen, you can see we flew at 50-meter altitude, and the resolution was 7.5 millimeter GSD. And on the right-hand side, we did another test with flying at 30-meter altitude, and we got around 3 millimeter GSD. So here is an example of the raw image from the P1. So as you can zoom in and see, if you zoom in, you can see how clear the images are and how sharp the images are, which in turn will give you very good results on while processing. So more. Yeah, so you can see when you zoom in to 100%, so even the sticks on the grounds are, and the stones are also visible. This was taken at by around 100 meter altitude. So even from 100 meters altitude, you can still get really good results. Yeah. So in photogrammetry, the biggest challenge we faced is while mapping homogeneous surfaces. So there will not be any textures on the ground. As you can, in Middle East, we have the desert. So in scenarios where you need to map desert area like this, photogrammetry methods were not helpful before. Because we have, in the past 6 years, we have tried so many number of cameras, high resolution cameras, DSLR cameras, drone-based cameras, and with various settings. But we were not able to get good results on while we map sand or homogeneous areas. Not only sand, say for instance, if you want to map a solar power plant, so the solar panels will all look the same. So the stitching of all solar panels will not, when you create an orthomosaic map, it's really difficult for certain softwares to merge or process these data sets. Same for the sand areas. So while processing, we use Agisoft or Pix4D to do processing. So when you put these homogeneous images into an image processing software, any software, Agisoft or Pix4D, basically the algorithm is almost similar in both program or image processing softwares. So the softwares cannot stitch or find tie points in this kind of images. So as you can see, this was taken with a normal this was taken with a normal camera, and you can see the results on the side. So the tie points or point clouds is very sparse, and there are so many missing points while processing the data. But when we did the same test with P1, we got really amazing results here. As you can see, since the camera is full frame and you have 45 megapixel camera sensor, you can see every detail on the sands, and the softwares were able to stitch almost process almost all parts of the sand with Zenmuse P1. So this is a very huge advantage while using the P1 in desert, while mapping desert areas. So that was our test with P1. So other advantage with P1 is 3D mapping. So the oblique cameras settings in the camera, when you fly the camera, it turns left, right, up and down, like in a sequence. So you can capture 3D models very easily. Okay, that's it from my side. So if you have any questions, please write to us or you can message us. Thank you. Jude will take over the session from here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So here we have the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please, by all means, ask away. We will be really happy to answer the question in the best possible light. So we'll give it a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, please drop us a message on the chat box. So we have a message, when can we order the P1? The P1, everyone is ready to order now with 2 to 4 weeks delivery time. So please, by all means, if you are looking to order one, please let us know and we can most certainly put in the order for you.
Hi, there is a question that so we can use P1 for inspection and not just mapping. Yes, we can use it for inspection as well, but the P1 is mainly built for mapping. But it can be used for certain inspection like wind turbine or building inspection. Yes. Yeah, major benefit of being able to map the desert. Yes. So as you know, UAE is almost the 80% of UAE is covered with desert. So in one of the scenarios which we came across was when we had a project for solar power plant construction. So it was in a desert. So in that situation, the earlier drones or cameras were useless with photogrammetry method to map and get a good result. So in Middle East, so it will be a major benefit for while using P1. So since we can map deserted areas for large constructions. Yeah.
Can I have a demo for the P1? Yes, you most certainly can. Please message me or email me after the webinar and we can most certainly arrange this for you. So please do not be worried. We are here to help and we can most certainly provide a demo.
So flying distortion. Image distortion from triangle. So actually the P1, the drone flies, the maximum speed of the drone is like 15 meters per second. So, and the P1 is a high distortions are very less in flying. So
in that scenario, time sync is very important to record the image.
okay. About image distortion from flying in low altitude. So image distortions are actually very less or none in with the P1 camera. The M300 flies at the maximum speed is around 15 meters per second. So and the P1's shutter speed is really good. So even at flying low and greater speeds, you'll not have any image distortions. So also the software limits the drone to fly more than a certain speed. So there will not be any image distortions. Yeah, regarding the time sync feature in the M300 RTK is equipped with an RTK based station. So, or you can connect your M300 to a VRS network and get real-time correction of your images. So in that scenarios, the time sync the image, it's great that DJI addressed these issues on P1, because in earlier drones, the image logged the time and the RTK or the VRS logged time was had a slight variation, like even in microseconds or in seconds. So in DJI M300, they have added a time sync feature which syncs the time with the RTK base station onto the images. So in their for high accuracy projects, this will really have a big advantage. How low? So for you can fly up to 25 to 30 meters altitude to get a good resolution. Yes. So the optimum lowest height we would recommend is like around 50 to 80 meters. So you'll have more flying time as well as you can cover a significantly large area. Yeah, we cannot. We can put a gimbal on a dual gimbal setup, but for mapping purposes, it will not work. So, say for example, you can put a P1 and an XT2 for other applications, like you need to do a thermal as well as a visual flying. You can mount. Yeah, yeah, there are huge limits on where you can fly drones anyway. Yes, it applies to this drones also. So it doesn't matter which drone you use, the rules apply to all the drones. So the capability, no, it doesn't limit because according to UAE rules, you are allowed to fly at an altitude up to 120 meters or 400 feet. So yeah, so in M300, you don't have to fly 120 meters or higher. So even at 100 meters, you get a really good resolution for survey purposes. So only there I can only see the limits is only on altitude. So and all other permits applies to all the drones. Like if you need to get an NOC from a certain department, you need to again still apply. Military of Defense, all this applies to this drone as well.
Thank you very much for those questions, guys. I really appreciate that. And please be aware that you can still get in touch with us after this webinar. Our details will be on the next slide. So our numbers are there. Our email addresses are there. Please, by all means, take a note of these, and by all means, give me a call or Nick in a call straight after this webinar should you want to ask any further questions. And I would really like to thank everyone who's attended today. I really appreciate your time, and thank you very much once again.